I can find the previous DMM because tomorrow's DMM is not out yet. It hasn't been officially released. And in fact, I'll happily answer anybody's question while we're here. More than happy to answer any questions. So give me a second. I'll find last month's Canada CPI. So that would have been July 20th, it looks like to me. So Eva was asking, how are you gonna, what's gonna happen? What's next month's Canada CP, what next month? What's today's Canada CPI gonna look like, the DMM? So it's tomorrow's trade, okay? It's a trade for tomorrow. So give me a second, and I've got to make sure I find the right daily market mover. Okay, I'm going to put my charts on sim so I don't accidentally enter myself into a trade. Okay, so this is going to be, hold on. This is going to be tomorrow's Canada Core CPI setup. Okay, everybody that's trading it, Eva, Steve K, right now our software only works on NinjaTrader. What platform are you on? What platform are you on? So tomorrow's Canada Core CPI is a breakout trade with a bracket of 4. So Eva, I would try to keep the bracket at 4. I might I would definitely watch the Canadian market early if you're really interested in trading it. I'd watch the market, half an hour before the event. If it's very volatile, you could increase the bracket to 5 and be ready to use the adjust button, right? Do you understand why and how you would use the adjust button? The entry time is our time 8:29:59. Okay, it's an 8:30 event. I would not cancel in 10 seconds. I'd probably wait 20 at least. First target is 5. My second target would be 15, and the stop is fine. Oh man, Steve, if we could write for TOS, we would do it in a second, but no one can write for TOS. They're not compatible with third-party strategies. I would love to write for TOS because they have a tremendous amount of users. It would be a no-brainer, but we can't do it. We can't do it. They don't have an API. Eva, so yeah, it's like Chantal says, we're just looking at previous reports, history. That's all. History. What's safe? What's safe? What happened last month? What happened 3 months ago? Right? So instead of doing Elliott Wave, we're doing history of the event. And then Eva, the thing you want to remember, it's going to have a quick reversal. All right, let's look at a couple of Canada Core CPIs. Almost every Canada trade, Caesar not yet, but my boss got back from being away, so I'm hoping we're doing something this week. I'm hoping for a big class this week. So, but I don't have it set in stone yet. So Eva, the thing to remember is there will be quick reversals. Could be on Canada. We're considering, it probably would work as a trap trade, believe it or not. Probably would work as a trap trade. Let me pull up a couple, the last two. But I've traded it. I'll show you the way we've traded it in the room the last 2 times if I have the videos. Give me a second. I should have them. All right. So a lot of times Canada CPI trades with another US event. But I like Canada CPI as a tradable event. So in July, here's what we did last month. So I got to tell you the truth. We traded a trap trade, it looks like, Eva. So you might want to write down, let's see what happened, and then we'll go over the settings. Okay, so first we had the gold open. Canada CPI is on the left. It was a trap trade. You could see it shoots down kind of slowly and it fills the first tier. Not a very good breakout. And it is low liquidity, the Canadian dollar. Tiny, tiny profit, but the trap trade, let's see what the price does here. See how it reversed pretty well and I jumped out too soon? Very honestly, that particular month, sorry, not a huge, not a huge move. So it was it probably would have been a small winner on a breakout if you can keep your bracket small, and the trap trade would have worked as well. Let me just tell you what the trap trade settings were, so you know. The breakout, you've got it on the DMM. You would not have lost money on the trap trade. It did fill one tier. That's not a big move. Okay, here's the trade one more time. I'll play it in real time. So the trap trade, I put the orders on. Preparation was 7 seconds. It's an 8:30 event. Time of event is 8:30. But you could see the breakout wasn't very big. Maybe an 8, 9 tick profit, if that. It's only $5 a tick also. But if you were a little bit patient, the trap did reverse. See how it goes up? Quite a bit up. So trap would have worked. I made a tiny profit on it. The trap settings were one position for one position for size two, so two contracts. I used a pretty big stop. I think you could I used a 28 tick stop. That's awfully big. You probably could get away with 20 on that trade. We'll look at one more event. I used a bracket tiers of 12 and 20. 12 and 20. Let's look at another one. All right, let's look at another one. So just remember that 12 and 20 on the tiers. Let's pull up another. So that was July. Let's look at June. So I'm sure you want to know what would I do if I were trading it tomorrow. So let's just look at June 1st. Looks like another trap. So we're going to look very carefully at the size of the move. Same tiers, 12 and 20. Okay, we got to get through the gold open. Okay, here's Canada now on the left. Tiers of 12 and 20. It almost looks like the exact same move as the month before. Very small, not very dramatic. Fills one tier. Again, a small profit. Small profit. You know, Eva, you really want to think about the trap. Let's look at one more. Let's look at one more. I mean, this is what I would do to help myself make a decision. The breakout is a very tiny profit, very tiny, very tiny. Here's May, all right? However, you know, here's what drives you crazy in trying to decide what to do. 3 months ago, we did a breakout, and it had a better move 3 months ago, okay? But look what happened. Low liquidity, and it filled at the top of the candle. Yep. But it filled at the top of the candle. So that was a losing trade as a breakout. And that's why we started seriously considering the traps. Almost all the Canadian trades are tending to reverse. They're tending to reverse. Chantal, the question is always, is the 20 tier too big? Are our tiers too big? 12 and 20. Seems a little big based on the movement. But you don't want a WASD event either where it blows through your trap stop, right? So when I see this, so Eva, here's the way I think this through, and here's what I do. So I see a possible trap trade in May. I bug Chantal and I say, Chantal, look at May, please, and tell me if my tiers were safe. If she's not available and doesn't have time to tell me, then I run a playback. Do you know how to run a playback? Okay. So that's what I would do. I would download May 18th. May 18th. I would download May 18th, which I'm doing right this second, Canadian dollar. And that would be 6C, 6. 6 would be the contract. I don't have it in my platform. I just have to add the instrument. 6C 0622. Now I can add it. So I've got the date at 518. I download the data. Okay. I disconnect live. I'm going to do your job for you, Eva. I disconnect live. I connect playback. We said the date was 518, right? So I can put the date up here in both boxes. 518. Don't forget we have to change our chart and put on the software. 518. I'm going to change my chart 6C0622 because that's the proper chart for the day that we're trading, right? And in this blank space, I'm going to right click and put the time of the event. Thinking it's a trap trade, I need to leave a little bit more space than a breakout. So I'm going to put 8:29:50, 10 seconds before the event. And now I'm going to set up my software. Just like making believe this is now that date. Nothing is different. Go to strategies, trap trade. What Chantal was saying is add a second contract on position one. The stop, I would go 22. Time of the event is 8:30 Eastern time. Activation, 7 seconds. Account warnings are off. I'm going to label this Canada CPI, and I'm going to save a template. My tiers, but I got to do my tiers first. Tier 1 is 12. Tier 2 is 18. 20, sorry. It was 20. I hope I'm not boring you to death here. I'm going to save the template. Canada. I already have it. Okay. It's right there. So I'll save it again with a different date and I'll check them and get rid of one of them. All right. Save, apply, okay, enable. When I press play, Ninja's going to start the time over. I'm going to have to put the time back in. It's a bug. It didn't. It worked. All right. So now we're waiting for the prep. Orders are going to show up. There's my orders. Here's our replay of the trap trade. It filled both tiers. Immediately reverses. You can combine your orders on a trap trade if you think it's not going to hit them, or you could move your orders up because they're pretty far away. You try to be a little bit patient on a trap trade. When I get desperate in a trap trade and I have no idea what's going on, I hate to admit it, but I'll hit the close button. Try not to. You're better off combining your orders, trying to be patient, move them up. What I like to do is move my stop. I don't want to take a full loss if I'm up over $100. Now, just based on, I might just trail my stop. I don't want to get stopped out, but if it does, no matter what, I'm going to make money here. It's chopping around, chopping around. $115. Okay. Maybe I could be more patient. Maybe price is going to go down. So sometimes on the trap, it pays to be patient. But I think that those tiers, Chantal, you still here? 10, 10 and 18, 10 and 16. What do you think? Leave the stop the same, or increase the stop by two, little bit smaller tiers. What do you think? Okay. You and I definitely have a different philosophy on the trap trade, but it's okay. I understand totally what you mean. So, Eva, leave the tiers, okay? leave the tiers. Probably one tier will fill. If you get a decent move, look, this was one out of three that had a good move. The other side of the coin that always worries you about a trap is a giant move. The history of this report hasn't been giant, it hasn't been doing it. So, I'm not going to sit here and say I would absolutely only do the trap, but certainly the testing looks good for the trap trade. The enemy of a trap trade is a gigantic move. Gigantic. So, just for fun, let's look at one more random video. I'm just going to pick a random CPI video because we haven't seen a giant move, and that's even being in these inflationary times. The last 2 months were not giant. They were not giant. So I'm looking at going back to January just for fun, just to look at the size of the move. I'm sure it was a breakout. We wouldn't have been even thinking about traps back then. Canada's on the right this time. I was live. It had a much better move, seemingly similar to what we saw in the last one. And look, it only made 8 ticks because it's low liquidity. It's low liquidity. Now, that price that day it did reverse, Eva. Look, 4 minutes later. So if you're stuck in a trap trade and you're not stopped out, if you can handle waiting 3 or 4 minutes, look how it reversed, even with a decent sized move. That was January 19th. January 19th. If you want to be 100% certain, you could always run a replay on it, but I think it would have been okay. Okay? 12 and 20. 12 and 20.